So today's topic is parsing. What is this parsing? First we'll see, then how it is contrasted with casting, that also we will see how it is differ from casting. When we say casting, any data type converted to any other data type, because we have 4 ways of casting: implicit, explicit, boxing, unboxing. That already we saw last class. But parsing, when we say, this is on demand, you can say on industry demand, they made it special for a special purpose. I will tell you what is that. So this is only for converting string to some other. Now you will ask me, sir, why this string to some other is a special? Why not this? What is the big deal in this? Because most of times you might have seen, guys, you are accepting data from the user. What do you mean by accepting versus assigning? Accepting means asking user to enter. Assigning means directly assigning. So last all 4 variety of the program what we saw, that was by assigning, right? But when you accept the data, always you use what? Console.readline, isn't it? And you know what is this returning after getting the data from the user? String. That also you know. We have seen this. That's why always you used to do conversion of that string to some other data type. So readline is taking the data from user in the format of string, regardless whatever data you are entering. Imagine somebody entered my marks is 98. Still it will consider it like string 98. Remember, I will come to that parsing, but making the background to understand that. So I got 98 from user on the screen. I said, can you please enter your marks? He is saying, okay, 98. But the moment he entered 98 on the screen, your console.readline is going to take that 98, considering it as a string only. That's why always you might have seen, whenever you ask user to enter, you always do string, just like this, marks equal to console.readline. But this is not appropriate. I'm saying string marks. Imagine it is not marks, it is physics. One more line is chemistry. Then what will happen if I will take string? If I will say physics marks plus chemistry marks, here I entered 98 and here I entered, imagine, 92. Then if I will say physics plus chemistry, who can say how much it will display me? It will display 9892, right? But we don't want that. We want numeric addition. So all these are the problem scenario, okay, when I am taking simply string and doing some manipulation. But I want solution for this problem. So there are 2 solutions. Either you go for casting, just like using convert dot to integer. In my case, it is something like integer physics equal to convert dot to integer of 32-bit within double, bracket console.readline. So only 10% things is new, guys. Whatever we are discussing now, 90% things you know already from the previous class. So physics equal to, I said, convert dot to int 32 of console.readline. Absolutely fine. But here we have one demerit again. What demerit is, regardless of this value is null or not null, it will check null pointer exception. So it will definitely check exception if any. Now you will ask me, what is this new terminology, exception, sir? Imagine I asked you enter the number, enter your marks. Instead of entering some 98 or 95 or something, sometimes you entered ABCD, right? I cannot stop you, right? I asked you to enter the marks, you entered ABCD, how can I stop you? So that time what will happen? While doing this convert.2 in 32, it will throw error. Similarly, you entered null. Null means blank, nothing. Null and blank, little difference is there. Later on we'll see. But just assume that nothing. Null means nothing. You didn't enter at all. Then also it will throw some exception. Now, because convert.2 into 32, it not restricting me any data not to be entered. It is always saying you have to enter data, then only I can work for you. But because of that exception handling check means whether user entered null, whether user entered empty, whether user entered ABCD instead of 98, whether user entered some special character which is not appropriate. All those activity is being checked inside this 2 int 32. Okay, that is called exception handling. We have a separate chapter called exception handling, but anyway, at the introduction level, current level, you just understand that there is something called kind of error happens in runtime, execution time, which we set as exception. If user is not following the actual rule and entering anything anywhere, I asked to enter numbers, he is entering ABCD or something, so that is called exception. So all those things is being handled, and then correct warning message is shown through this 2 int 32 function of convert class. This is a class actually, this is a function actually. That means you are saying that, array, why you are handling the exception? I just entered 98, why you are wasting the time to handle the exception? Only if something null or empty or some invalid character or format, then only you do exception check. But every time you are checking exception, and 2 int 32 is saying, how can I know whether you are entering correct data or not correct data? I have to check all the variety of exceptions. Now to check all the variety of exceptions, obviously it will take some time, don't you think? Some extra time. So for checking that exception, it took some extra time. It always takes some extra time. Imagine 100 millisecond is enough for converting in decimal to integer, but it will take unnecessary 500 milliseconds, something like that. But imagine you are 100% sure I have a equal to 98 and I am converting this 98.57 to integer just by doing here a. Suppose, okay, integer a equal to 98.57 and you are converting to decimal, or it is decimal, you are converting to integer, suppose. Makes sense? Now you only assigned the value, then why you will permit your compiler or execution engine to check all these exceptions? If I am asking user to enter, that makes sense. Because I asked user to enter, he can follow, he may not follow also. I asked for decimal value, he is entering abc.xyz. Who knows? So when you are accepting the data from user, you are not sure whether value will be entered correctly or not correctly. But when you are assigning the data, that time you are 100% sure your data is in the correct format. So in such case, instead of going to convert process or casting process and taking some extra time, why not I will go for parsing, and I will say that no need to exception handling. You simply convert it without checking all these exceptional cases, whether format is wrong, whether data is wrong, whether range is wrong, whether special character has been entered. All these things please don't check. Reduce that 200 millisecond or so, that extra time. So if that is the case, because when you are working as a developer, guys, you have to check from all the angles, not just my program is working and output is giving. Can I get the same output, same facility with less memory as well as less time consumption? That should be always your priority. No doubt I could have done by this convert what I have written here, but this is not a good approach. I will say this is a wrong approach, because you know everything, you know the data, you have only given, then why unnecessarily you are going to check exceptional cases? You know that it is not one exceptional case because you only assigned the value here. So for this kind of purpose, when you are 100% sure about your data that it is not invalid, then same conversion, instead of calling the function .toInt32, you can do with the call of some other way. I will tell you what is that some other way. One is called parse function, okay, one is some bracketed data type conversion. So that I'm going to do practically, but theoretical concept behind why should somebody go for parsing even if I have all the ways of casting. This is the conceptual thing. So let's go to our Visual Studio, and whatever solution we have done last class, that we will open, and on top of that we will do something called parsing instead of casting. So let me go here and open our solution. This is our solution, data type casting. Yeah, I will come back to you. I think somebody has raised the hand. So let me show you what exactly I'm trying to say, then we will go to doubt clearance. So we have something called here, I will take first example. Can you see? I'm asking user to enter some integer marks. Okay, then I'm converting to integer. Why? Because readline is nothing but my user entered data. So here, instead of saying convert to 32 integer, I can say convert, parse to 32 integer also, only if I'm 100% sure about the data. So what I will do, I will enter some data just like this. Let me write a new function here named as static void parsing. I will name it as parsing to integer. Instead of casting to integer, I will do parsing to integer. So I have a string variable called some x equal to 78 within double quote, because it's a string. I'm not asking user to enter, I have given directly here. If I have given directly here, I have two ways now. Either I will go for casting or I will go for parsing. Because I have given directly value, I am 100% sure about the format of the data I have only given. I am not asking anybody to enter. So even though two provision I have, one is called casting, one is called parsing, I will prefer here parsing. Reason is, it will reduce the time of consumption to execute the program, because it doesn't take any exception. So what I will do, I will say integer some y equal to int dot parse. That means convert to integer of parse to integer, I will say, not to convert to integer. So parse to integer of x. Then I will say console dot write line. After parsing, value of y is placeholder and y. Those who are new people, this placeholder and all, you please refer the previous video so that you can come to know what is this placeholder all about. Now I will call this function and check whether what my casting was doing, whether my parsing is also doing the same. So put a breakpoint here. You know how to debug. So put a breakpoint and see what is happening. So debug it. So I didn't ask user to enter because I have value in my variable already, and I have only given, that is called assigning the value. So parsing is mostly used in assigned value, not accepted value. But it will not impossible for accepted value also. Yes, it will be possible. Instead of writing x equal to something in this bracket, I could have directly written console.readline. But again, problem is parsing is not checking any exceptional cases. If user is entering wrong data, wrong format, it is not going to check at all. It will not even give any warning for me. It will simply terminate the program. I will not come to know that why it is terminating the program for me. So parsing I should prefer when value has been assigned and I am 100% sure about the value. It is a string and it is a correct format of the converted data to integer, means integer, right? So here I said please remove that double quote and store in integer. Now if I have y and z after converting to integer, if I will add both of them, instead of concatenating like 7, 8, 5, 6, it will be 78 plus 56, like that it will consider. So here it says after converting to parsing it is 78. I will show you if you are using convert how to do. Both are possible here, but preferably you should go for parsing. So old student you already know, for new student it is just like this. If you are writing convert.toInt32 also it is fine, but here why should I go for convert.toInt32? It will take some extra 200-300 milliseconds to check exceptional cases, if any. I said don't check any exceptional cases. I am 100% sure I have only entered the value 78 and I am not collecting it from anybody that he will enter wrong value or wrong format of the value. So as a whole, if you ask me what your parsing is doing, what your casting is doing, both are doing the same thing. But casting is checking exceptional cases, if any, then it is not proceeding, it is showing some warning to you. But parsing, it terminates the program, if any. So okay, that is called use the parse function and convert to this. You have one more way also. It follows up same parsing methodology. The syntax is different only. You can say bracketed int then outside x. Okay, but this x will be something other than string. If it is a string, you must call parse function. If it is other than string, like for example, imagine this is not a string, this could have been decimal. Just say d equal to 78 point, let's say 98m. Okay, about this m also we have discussed last class, right? So I'm putting m. So now I will say this d should be converted to integer. Okay, have a look. So if your input, whatever you are going to parse, it is of string data type, which is 99% cases definitely correct, because you are asking user by console.readline, which is always string, then you have to go for parse functionality. If by chance other than string, then bracket whatever the data type you want to convert into. This is about string to integer, other to integer, and so on. But sometimes what you need others to string. Others to string means, imagine your decimal is already ready, d. Somebody says, can you please convert it to string? Little bit I am taking it down because it is convert, not the parse. So here I will say I have a string variable already. Let's say my string variable is k or s. Okay, somebody says that d has to be converted to string and store in s. Then I have to say d dot to string. Again, here make sure that d is not a null value. Here also you make sure that x is not a null value. Null value means nothing. That means you declare the variable but not yet enter the value. That is called null value. So parse is only possible when you are sure that it is not a null value. So make sure that D is not a null value. So whatever input, that means right side, whatever you are mentioning, it should not be null value. If it is null, then parse is not applicable. Convert is applicable, but it will show some warning saying that you have entered some null value. So because of those special condition checks, whether it is null, whether it is empty, whether it is wrong format, whether it is wrong range of the data provided, for all those extra conditional checks, your convert function is taking lot of time. But parse says, I will not check. If you are entering wrong value or giving me wrong value, wrong format value, it is your problem. I will simply terminate the program. So as a whole, conclusion is both are good, but which was to be used? Conclusion, both convert as well as parse do or does the same thing to data type for data type conversion, but something called preferably, okay, but preferably use parse when you are 100% sure about range of the data, format of the data, content of the data, and using in right place. Right place means I am saying ABCD is my data, convert to integer. That doesn't make any sense. That's why I said using in the right place. Preferably, because it never checks any exception, so it runs faster than cast. So if you are not sure about the data or format of the data, then go for convert, so that it will give some warning and it will say that okay, so and so exceptional cases is there, please take care. But parse will say, I don't care. If you are giving me wrong data, I will process it. Giving me correct data, I will process it. Giving me wrong data, I will terminate the program. So you will not come to know why my program is terminated. That's why recently they have brought up with something called try parse also. Okay, try parse. So going forward, when I will tell you exception handling, I will tell you additionally something called try parse. This is contrast between parse and cast. On top of both of these, there is something called try parse. Try parse means some try with catch block and parse. That means first benefit also will get, second benefit also will get. That means if in case format of the data is very good, correct, then it will be faster also. If by chance format is wrong, it will give some warning also. That is called try parse. But in this level, since you don't know what is exception handling, so let's ignore try parse, but contrast between cast and parse. Now if you have any question, Samim, you have raised the hand, you have any question? Parse function, but not parsing, parse function. So let me change the sentence. If I have written parsing only for converting string to some other data type, use parse function. Parsing is all of them. When we are writing bracket int, also parsing. When we are using toString, also parsing. When we are using parse function, also parsing. But this parse function, if you are using, it will take only string. Okay, but if you are saying int of something, float of something within bracket, then this right side can be integer, can be string, can be anything but other than string. Okay, in case of boxing, nahi, in case of unboxing, chance is there spelling mistake also. Let me check. This is the notepad. Can you tell me where it is? This is the one. It's spelling mistake. Okay, implicit unboxing will never be possible. Explicit conversion is always mandatory in case of unboxing. Okay, boxing we have implicit as well as explicit, but when we say unboxing, it is always, because unboxing means what? Reference type to value type, and when we reference type to value type, left side value type, so value type is not a parent type. That's why always it is mandatory to have unboxing. So it may be I told might be unboxing, but I wrote it might be boxing. All right, anybody else, any other question? Good. So anyway, when we'll learn exception handling, more about the parsing, that is called try parsing, we'll see. But now let's go to our next level in the basic things, introduction things, whatever we are covering now. So I will create a new notepad, save it. This one I will save it as parsing. Beginning level, so every day some new general knowledge, some new topics will come. So again, today some general knowledge I will tell you first, which is not related to any topic or chapter, but okay, from C# point of view, you take it like a best practice or take it like a general knowledge, whatever it is. Few things I will cover, then I will go to something called operators. There is something called string. Okay, string data type, we know all, which is always holding, let's say my data type string and variable is s, which is always storing, let's say ABC, for example. Now I have another variable called, this is s1 and this is s2, which is having xyz. Absolutely fine. I have another variable s3, which is having maybe ijk. As I said, this is not a chapter or anything, it's a general knowledge or best practice, you can say. Now someone told me you have to just combine all of them. Okay, you have to combine all of them. Then what I did, as of now, whatever you have knowledge, according to that only you will do. Obviously you will say, okay, no problem, string s4 equal to s1 plus s2 plus s3 plus s4. Okay, like almost every alternate classes, some best practices I will tell you, which is may not be related to any chapter or anything, but it is a best practice. Okay, that will make you a good developer. Remember, chapter is okay, even YouTube channel, or if you purchase a book also, that will give you the chapter knowledge or basic knowledge, etc. But best practice in industry, what we follow, I will tell you here. Now tell me, if I will ask you today to concatenate all of them and combine together, obviously we will do this, right? Is there any other way we can do? No. Now anybody there who can help me saying that no, it is wrong practice, we have some other practices? Any idea? Whoever, I mean, if you have by chance got a chance to work before in C#, many of you during introduction you said you have worked with. Nothing wrong if you are saying wrong, but just participate. Yeah, anybody? I said there is some wrong practice in this line. If wrong, then what is the good practice then? Anybody? Brackets here, like this. No, you can do like this also, doesn't matter. Syntactically not a problem, but best practice point of view it's a problem. Neha, you have raised the hand. You want to say something? Yeah. That is for display purpose, not for storing in another variable, right? So I understood what you are saying. You are saying something like this: console dot write line. Okay, I will tell you what is the actual thing, but okay, it's always my process is like debating with you guys to know what is your current knowledge and then suggesting what is the best practice. So you said like this: why don't you do 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and outside why don't you say s1 comma s2 comma s3? There are 3, so 0, 1, 2. Is this you are talking about? This is called display the values. Okay, but do you think this will store in memory in this line? No, it will pick up these things and it will display on the screen only, no? That is why you used placeholder, not to store in the memory, directly to concatenate and display on the screen. But my intention is I want to store in S4 also after concatenating. Got it? This is called concatenate and display. Concatenate, and that is also concatenating. Instead of this you can do concat and then store or display. But I want lot of variables are there, I want to manually store in this S4. So this is called store in a separate variable. When you say string.concat, that is a concat function, but inside that function definitely they might have written some coding, right? So if you are a developer who knows that concat function you are going to develop tomorrow, so if you are calling a concat function, like someone said, you just call the concatenate function and pass this variables s1 comma s2 comma s3. Makes sense, but that is like inbuilt function you are using, what your Microsoft has provided. But Microsoft has put some efforts inside that function, right? If you are tomorrow working in Microsoft and they gave you to develop that function, then what you will do? Do you think something miracle is happening in that function? Definitely somebody has written some coding inside that function, isn't it? So what is that core coding concept? We are talking about that. Yeah, Rohini, you have raised the hand. You have any concept on this? Yeah, string builder. This is correct. So we have to use some process called string builder process here. Okay. So going forward, when I'm going to next chapter called operators, I'm going to use lot of places this kind of plus, right? So to suggest you best practices, not to use plus for any string operations. For integer it's fine, I will not say no. Physics plus chemistry plus mathematics plus biology equal to total marks, go ahead, use plus. But when it is particularly about string, you should not use plus. It will work, no issue, but it's not a good practice. So let me write that point also. Above operation is definitely giving correct output, but it's not a best practice. So this string builder is a concept, I will say. It's not like a very big chapter or any new theory or anything. It is a concept. Concept means without string builder also your work is happening, but if you are using string builder, less memory and more speed you will get. So always a good developer's practices should consume less memory and should execute in less time. That means faster process and memory less. So how to make it available, how to make it possible, that is called string builder here. So let me write the heading now, string builder. If I could have written at the beginning, then you could have not do the brain exercise. So this is now, let's go for something called string builder. So how my string builder is going to replace this plus 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 to concatenate and store in a new variable. So let's go to Visual Studio. So directly I will never go to practical concept. Up to my understanding, it is always better to understand the problem scenario in Notepad. Then you go to Visual Studio. It will be taking only 1 minute to understand the things. But if you are directly going for solution without understanding the problem, you will never be conceptually clear. So let's go for this. I will name it as string underscore builder. And here I will go for desktop. Right? I always say understanding the problem in detail is half of the solution. So here we understood if I'm using plus plus plus, what is the problem? Even though it is giving me correct output, what is the problem? Problem is a little bit more. I'm going to tell you about the problem by opening one Excel sheet. So first 15-20 days, guys, your concept and your best practices should be so strong in basic area that in future, if I'm directly writing 4-5 lines of the code in 10 or 12 years experience level, 20 years experience level, you should quickly understand, acha, here this best practice is following, that's why this things is used. So imagine this is my random access memory. Okay, imagine this is my random access memory in the computer. Now I declared a variable called s1. Imagine this is my s1. I declared a variable called s2. Imagine this is my s2. And I declare a variable called s3. Imagine this is my s3. Some different color I'm just taking for your better understanding. Here I gave something called abc. Here I gave something called xyz. And here I gave something called ijk. Makes sense? Now my intention is I have some other variable called s4 somewhere here maybe. And intention is concatenate all these three and store it in this. Now see what will happen if I am following up the first process, which is the wrong practice process. Again, I will remind all of you, if you are asking some doubt, don't type in the chat window. Reason is I don't used to go to chat window again and again while teaching. So you must click on the raise hand so that it will come to know, I will come to know that somebody wants to ask something. All right. Most importantly, since I'm recording it, so chat window is no more a personal message window. It will be seen to everybody because the screen is getting recorded totally. So better, why not you will raise the hand and speak with me directly. All right. Okay. Coming to that notepad, what we did here, I said s1 plus s2. The moment this plus symbol came, what will happen? As per this content, concatenating and display that placeholder, very first class or maybe second class we have discussed about it, that whenever you use a plus symbol, if it is a string, it goes and recreates the memory location. So that means the moment you say s1 plus s2, what it understood, compiler, it understood that perhaps we are going to modify this s1 value. That's why for a precaution, as per the architecture of the string, it will go here and create one more location. Just like this. It will say, okay, the first plus over, it will say ABC XYZ. That is between first and second S1 and S2. The moment third plus symbol came, it will again think that, hey, somebody is going to modify for S2. Come on, recreate a memory, because original should not go. So it will recreate one more memory like this. It will say ABC XYZ and IJK. This is one more memory location reservation. Then see, is there any more plus symbol? No, it is over. Then it will take and store in another variable. That means one more string variable will be declared as S4. So here you go. Another string variable is declared, which is for S4. This is S4. Then it says, okay, take the concatenated data and store in that S4 left side. And it's stored just like this. Now if you calculate how much memory you wasted, you see, this is required, no doubt about it, and this is also required, no doubt about it. But these two things, this brown color and blue color two things, don't you think it is waste of memory? We will never use it. Our original value is this. My concatenated value is S4. Then why should I unnecessarily create two more locations? But I cannot help it because my technology is like that. If string you are concatenating by plus, it will go and recreate. Every time you use a plus, recreate with the concatenated data. Okay. So can I avoid this extra two locations? For 3 variable, extra 2 locations. For 100 variable, extra 99 locations. Why should? Can I reduce that? That is what our intention. So string builder is going to help me from that regard. See how I am doing using the string builder. Okay. Just a small general knowledge, but very important. Most of times people will ask you in an interview as well. So what you have to do, you have to use one extra namespace at the top, guys. First class we discussed a little bit about library. You remember system library, system.threading library, etc. Any library you use for what purpose, guys? It is for command reference purpose. Imagine I am writing console. Obviously that console word has been defined in this library. If I will delete that, then obviously it will say, hey, where is this console word? I don't find. So library is required. Similarly, any command you need for string builder, the concept what we are just now discussing, that is all defined in something called system.text. So using system.text. Now go for string builder here. Very small program, so not a big deal. You already understood what to do, what not to do. I want to avoid this line. Instead of this, I want to use string builder. But these 3 lines are definitely required. So I just took and copy and pasted here. Let me know or raise the hand if you got any confusion anywhere. Now, one way is that wrong practice. As I said, string S4 equal to S1 plus S2 plus S3. Possible, but wrong practice. Unnecessary memory it is taking. And I can display the data also, no problem. It will display also. So S4 if you are displaying, it will definitely say ABC, XYZ, IJK, etc. concatenated. Possible, no problem about it. So string builder is just like ice cream after your lunch. Not mandatory always, but if you are using, you will feel it good. Your technology will feel it good. So S4. Right, you wrote already. I will say console.read key just to hold the cursor to see the output. This is called wrong practice, what I am doing currently, but then I will replace this line with the good practice. So run it. Whether at least in wrong practice I am able to see concatenated data or not. Okay, so I said output is not everything. You have to see behind that output what is the technique we are following up. So if unnecessary memory it is consuming, why should I use that? I don't want to use this. Rather, I will say, okay, let's go for a string builder variable. So string builder, can you see? It is automatically coming string builder. If I will not use that system.text at the top, it will not come. Okay, so as long as I was not using string builder, can you see it is in gray color? Line number 2, in gray color because it has not been used ever. But the moment I started using it, something like any name you give, SB or S4 you give, no problem, equal to new string builder. Now, what is this new keyword all about? One new thing. Okay, anybody can tell me in that line number 14, I used one new keyword. Create an object, create an instance. Seems like strange word for newcomers and other people. All of you, somebody might have heard about it, maybe little bit knowledge, but if you take yourself to beginning level, introduction level, definitely it is a strange word for us, right? So let's bit understand about this new keyword, then we'll go to further. New means allocation of memory. Across C#, throughout your career, wherever you will use new keyword, imagine allocation of memory. That the meaning is. New means allocation of memory. Now you will ask me, what do you mean by allocation of memory? What memory it is allocating to S4? In string builder, if you press F12, you will see lot of functionality, properties, variables. Many things are predefined because string builder is not defined by us, right? It is defined by Microsoft. So unless this schema and functionalities will allocate the memory, I cannot call the functions to replace my wrong practice to my correct practice. That's why you are saying just semicolon is not enough. It will not show any error, but it is not allocating any memory. Can you see line number 17? It is showing some error, saying that S4 has not yet got any functionality memory allocations. How can you use it? So allocate the memory. That means whatever functionality, variable, data, anything available inside this string builder, it has been allocated the memory. Indirectly we say it as object of string builder. Okay, so object means allocation of the memory of whatever they are in this class. Going forward, there is a topic called classes and objects. There we will see more about it, but just a general knowledge here that string builder is a class which is having lot of things inside it defined by Microsoft. Unless those stuff will get the memory, I cannot use it for my reservation of the memory as well as storing of the data into the memory. That's why I said please allocate the memory to this S4. That means this one has been created. Now as of now this is not created. I will delete it because this time we are doing for correct practice. This is not done, only this much done. That means create S4 and allocate the memory to it. Alright, it allocated the memory, no problem. But going forward, if the ABC, XYZ, IJK, like that 100 more things, if it will take more memory than how much it has allocated, then it will dynamically expand that memory just like this. Okay. Somebody tomorrow said, I'm storing 100 different things. No problem. It will allocate dynamically because in reference type in class 1 or class 2, we have discussed about any reference type, it will expand the memory as it needed because that is a reference type. So every class is a reference type. That's why it will expand the memory if necessary. Now I am going to store ABC, XYZ, IJK which is there in S1, S2 and S3. So how to do now? I have to tell S4 dot append. There is a function called append inside string builder class. Let me show you that. If you press F12, you can see there will be a function called append. Can you see? Lot of functions are there called append, 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 append. That means if you are sending me float data also, I will append it. If you are sending string data also, I will append. So append means concatenate in string builder language. So we are saying, can you please concatenate S4 with S1? Can you please concatenate S4 with S2? Can you please concatenate S4 with S3? Like that you are demanding. So the process it will follow internally, it will not be recreation of the memory again and again. So it will not say please recreate S1, please recreate S2, please recreate S3. It will say S3 let it be in the original memory location. I'll pick it and append with S4, append with S4, append with S4. So at the end, what will happen? Whatever appended value you are giving to S4, it will say yes, I do have that. So let's put a breakpoint here and see which line what is happening in a debugging mode. Then I will ask you if you have any confusion. So first it came to line number 9. What should I press to go to next line, guys? F10, right? So go to F10, F10, F10 and F10. That means your S1 is ready in random access memory, S2 is ready, S3 is also ready. All have got the data as per our expectation. Then we are creating one blank object. Only some nominal memory we have allocated, but as of now we have not yet given any S1, S2, S3, etc. Can you see it is saying maximum capacity is this much bit, and as per your allocation it will go for 16 bit allocation at a time. So what it will do, S1, how many bit of memory? 3 character, means how much bit? 3 into 2 equal to 6 bit. So 6 bit, 6 bit, 6 bit. So total it will be 18 bit. So 18 bit of the memory it will allocate to that. So first you go for S1 allocation. Now it will say I got ABC. Then go for S2 allocation. It will say I got ABC as well as XYZ. Then S3 allocation. That means not recreating the memory again and again in the RAM. It is saying only S4 should be appended with first ABC, then XYZ, then IJK. That means whatever minimal memory necessary to complete this task, we did it. But plus was using unnecessary extra 2 spaces. Now let's display it and see whether our work is happening or not. Because best practice is second thing, right? Work should happen. Our output should not be different. So output is same and memory is less. Then as a good developer, definitely you should prefer string builder instead of plus. So always what people do, plus is easy always, nothing much to think about, nothing but much to remember about. That's why wherever, addition symbol will come, for integer decimal also they will use plus. For string also they will use plus. So advisable whenever concatenation comes, that means string concatenation, use string builder. Whenever numeric concatenation, numeric addition comes, you use plus symbol. I can see Deepak, you have raised the hand. Any question? Yes. All the second sentence what you said we could not get. Can you repeat? Yeah. I will tell you that since I have not explained it about it, so I am not telling that name. We will discuss it about heap later. Okay. No, did not understand. Can you repeat it? What is that 2 you said? Another 16, then another 16, like that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Bindu, you have any question? Your voice is very low. Can you please little loud? Or maybe your mic problem, something broken voice is coming. Yeah, manageable. Yeah, only for string. But if you want to send other data also, it will append. it will consider like a string. Append, only for appending. Appending means concatenating. You send 20 and 30, no problem, but it will say 2030. Okay. Raghav, you have a question. Who got clarity? You can just again click that hand symbol, then that symbol will go. Possible. Why not? Possible. No, there is something called loop. We will see that. So after loop, you will come to know in one line how 100 times I can do. So, but as long as you are not using loop, you can use this way. Okay. All right. So can you repeat it again? Your voice is breaking for me. Line number, can you tell me so that? Okay. No, there is one way, like here you can say append dot append dot append like this. Okay. So are you talking about this? It will say there is no overloaded function which takes 2 arguments. Okay, but process is like this. If somebody doesn't want to write in 2 different line, 3 different line, you can do like this, just like this, S2, then dot append S3 and so on. Okay, because if you see string builder, you press F12, all the append functions are taking one argument. Can you see? So the process will be dot 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 in the same line or in different line, both are fine. Okay. Anybody else? Any other question? Are you speaking little away from your mic? It's very low for me. It will integer also treated as string only. Like 20 plus 30 equal to 2030. Okay. But if you want to use numeric addition, then string builder you should not use. You should use plus 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 only. Because in integer case, it will not reserve any extra memory. Only for string case only that wrong practice, like said reserve memory and so on. But in integer and decimal, those are all value types. So in value type case, no problem. You go ahead and use plus plus plus. No wrong practice in that. Correct. Because it's a limited memory. Only for string, this problem, whatever we discussed here, we discussed some problem scenario, right, before going to solution. So this problem is only for string, that extra reservation of memory. So only for string you should use string builder, not for other. If you are using for other also, it will treat it like a string and it will append it like 10 plus 20 equal to 1020. All right. So I think this is it. So that now we are comfortable to start learning operators. Okay, so plus is one important operator actually. So going forward in our operator chapter, we should not have so much problem when I'm using string builder. So I wanted to give you this general knowledge. So our next chapter after introduction to C#, as of now whatever we were doing, these are all introduction to C#. Okay, so first chapter after introduction will be operators. So next class we will be doing operators and what are various types of operators and so on, and that will do next class. And today it will not permit, time will not permit. So anybody has anything to speak with me, I will just stop the recording and you can speak.